What's up, everybody? We are here at the VIP day of ICC 5, as I have aptly dubbed it, the Haven Strikes Back. This is the I Know You Hear Me podcast with the one-man enterprise, Flynn Hendrix, my main man and producer, Just Jeff, and I've got my two brothers from the ECPC, the Eclectic Collective. You guys want to introduce yourself?
I'm Matt.
I'm Ryan.
And we are here to talk about the experiences today. We're here to talk about some wrestling. We're going to nerd out a little bit, and we're pretty much going to do what I do every time I'm in the ring. I'm going to call it on the fly.
And we're going to try to piss him off to the point to where he flips tables. No, I'm kidding.
Well, that actually would go with something I'm working out, trying to get into the stand-up comedy realm. So by all means, give me the reps.
All right.
So guys, where do we want to start this show at?
I got a question, like just for you, just being on the wrestling end. So, okay, I'm not a wrestling professional or know it all like him. This guy over here, he knows the history and everything. But we did have a conversation about John Cena and the record that Ric Flair holds.
Yes.
So there's been a lot of talk lately that John Cena has been okay with letting the record go to Charlotte Flair if it was to come to that. How do you feel about that?
First off, Ric Flair technically only has 16 recognized world title reigns. The real number is in the 20s, at least, because I mean he's gone across the pond. He's gone to Puerto Rico, and he's done a one-night title swap just to save his life because those fans are so rabid. But I do think if anybody is going to break it, it should be a second-generation Flair, because he sings her praises probably to ad nauseum of some people, and she is a great athlete. Why would she not break her father's record? And I mean, she was the semi-main event of WrestleMania, one of the biggest shows, if not the biggest show in professional wrestling. And the reviews that match got, the match she put on, why would she not break that? I mean, as far as recognized records go anyway.
Well, you know, the only reason I disagree is because, you know, growing up with the Attitude Era and everything, and John Cena being introduced during that time.
Yeah.
Like him and Orton, we would say like Randy Orton, I think just because of the dedicate, they have like literally given their lives to the sport, and they've been in it 20 plus years.
Yeah.
And you know, Flair's only been in it for less than a decade.
That's true.
You know, and like she's already won that many times to get to that. So it's like, you know what I was thinking, it was like when Roger Maris, when he broke the home run record, but he had more games to do it in than Babe Ruth. So, but even though he broke the record, people were mad that he broke the record, but he had more games to do it in.
Absolutely.
It's kind of opposite right now. So it's kind of that Roger Maris effect.
I do think something that should be taken into consideration, too, is quality over quantity, where they're not just hot potato changing a championship just to change a championship. Because, I mean, you've seen it where they put a title on somebody, and then the next night they're dropping it to somebody else, so they drop it right back to that person.
Yeah.
I hate that. I know it's part of the business, but in regards to that, I think that she has had credible reigns where it would justify her surpassing her dad's, record title reign.
Yeah. I mean, without a doubt, her and Rhea Ripley stole the show.
Yeah.
That could have been the main event for all of the WrestleManias, in my opinion.
I agree.
I was talking to him, of course Cena, but I think Randy Orton.
Yeah.
I think Orton has literally put his whole body on the line for this.
You hear people praise him, but he does not get the credit that he deserves.
No, he does
He can
not.
work with anybody, and he is one of the absolute best villains in the wrestling industry, to the point that you think that man is unhinged. That is how good he is. And I was a big fan of his dad, Cowboy Bob. He literally just took the pedigree of being a third-generation wrestler and just upped the ante every time. And I mean, his granddad and his dad weren't world champions. They, by all rights, could have been, but this man has done everything there is to do, and I feel like people are just now realizing how good he actually is.
Yeah, I think he's probably the best heel of this generation. He just really evolved that. I can't cheer for him. I love to have him as a heel. As a face, it just doesn't work.
See, that's the thing, too. As a heel, and this is something that I live by because I am the villain, it's easier to make people hate you than it is to make them love you. And I will say, I take offense with the best heel remark, because I hear that phrase thrown around so much. I may burn some bridges right now. I may not. But I hear that MJF is the best villain. I hear that Jeff Jarrett is the best heel in the business. Bully Ray, I'll give that man his due because he doesn't have plants in the crowd. He doesn't have to, low blow children or use racial slurs or anything like that. I probably just burned some bridges right now, but I honestly feel like I could compete with that because, Jeff, you can attest to this at the recent show that we did at Caverna for Ultimate Championship Wrestling. I was in the main event, and there were other awesome matches on that show, but for over a year, for almost 16 months, it had been one story of me and another wrestler trying to get his championship back from me, and these people followed that story from January of last year to almost April of this year, and they followed it in almost every town that we went to, from like Tennessee to Kentucky and everywhere in between. And when he finally got his revenge and pinned me, I mean, he cheated, by the way, because he wasn't the legal man, so probably needs to be stricken from the record books. But I mean, when he pinned me, that was the loudest pop of the night. Like 600 plus people erupted when he pinned me, and it was absolutely insane. And this was also after fans tried to fight me.
Okay.
Like 4 fans tried to fight me and my tag partner. Yep. And I don't see a lot of people getting that kind of heat anymore.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Tennessee crowds and Kentucky crowds is a different breed when it comes to wrestling.
It's still real men.
I got a question.
I
got a question.
Yes.
You're talking about titles. I want to know what your view is on Roman Reigns holding it from, about 1,000 days.
Absolutely.
What do you think of that? Like, your opinion.
Okay, so this is one, and I'm probably going to make a lot of people mad here. I love it. I also loved it when Brock Lesnar had it and wasn't there every show, because it makes it an attraction. It makes it more like a more rare occurrence when you actually see it. It makes it special. So when somebody actually beats him, it means something, whereas it's not just another win and you forget about the event that it happened at, or it happened at this pay-per-view that wasn't a WrestleMania, or so on. And it makes it a lot more special when somebody actually beats him. And it's a throwback to the old days of Bruno Sammartino, Hulk Hogan, Bob Backlund. It's a rare thing these days.
See, this is why we need something like this, because I didn't look at it like that.
And I love it too, because it's the antithesis of the society we live in, where everybody wants the Amazon delivery of, I want it next day, I want it now, I want this immediate gratification. This guy is going on almost 3 years of being a champion in an era where people's attention spans are so short because of social media, this or that. But that man pulls in the ratings, and speaking from experience of being backstage or being on the event floor, like at SummerSlam or a SmackDown, when he comes out, it is an absolute event. Like, you feel the reverberation in the floor of the arena. You get the goosebumps watching it because he owns the room. Like you were talking about it before the mic started rolling. He owns the room. He comes in. He takes his time. He makes you wait for it. He has you in the palm of his hand. Then when he says the name of your city and he says, "Acknowledge me," the people go crazy.
And then just walks out.
Sometimes. But still, he has the right to do that now. He has that much clout.
So I got a question for you. And you're going to have to help me because it's been so long. I don't remember the tag team. You remember they were a part of TNA that I pissed off? The Harris brothers.
Ron and Don.
Yeah, okay. So how do you handle people, like, especially being at smaller shows, how do you handle, like, the hate that they throw at you? And just because... like when we were at a TNA show, the Harris brothers were heels.
Oh, yeah.
And so, we would say stuff to them. And like, I remember one of the Harris brothers, you probably remember which one. Yeah. He like looked at me, he was like, "I'm going to find you in the parking lot for everything I was saying." Yeah. I was like, "Bring it on, man." Because I thought it was part of the show. All right. So at the end of the show, we go to the parking lot, and here I see him coming right at me. I'm like, "Oh God, I was just playing. Oh my gosh." So how do you handle like how do you handle that emotionally? I know you don't go search for them in the parking lot like the Harris brothers, but like how do you handle that? When you take it home, do you take it personally or do you count it as part of the show?
So what I do is I take all the frustrations from my everyday life. Not getting recognized for a promotion at work, frustrations of other people not doing their job, whatever it may be, and I also take it with a big chip on my shoulder because I personally feel like I've been overlooked a lot in my career because of my size, or I'm not somebody's best friend, I'm not somebody's boy, I'm not playing the political game, but I'm also one of the most consistent people on that show, and even if I'm not the chosen person, I get one of the loudest reactions of the night. So if I'm not getting that reaction, that's a problem to me. So I take all that frustration and I will literally say things that they think they know, but it's using the old villain mentality where I don't think I'm a bad guy because there's truth in what I'm saying. I believe my truth. And if I tell somebody I think I'm the kind of person your kids should look up to because I have a college degree, I have a job, I'm doing this, I'm chasing my dreams, and you're sitting here drinking beer at a wrestling show, setting a bad example for them, why would they not look up to me and feel like they should be able to chase their dreams? And that strikes a nerve.
All right.
So, I mean, if I'm not getting that, then it's a problem. And delving into the acting world has helped me find more clever and intricate ways to bring that out where it's not always going in a verbal joust. It's just a look at somebody in the crowd, a wink and a nod, whatever it may be, that it's just different ways that you don't typically see somebody getting heat nowadays. And like I said, it's resulted in fans trying to fight me, and sometime 10 years ago, a fan did fight me. So.
Yeah, the only reason that worries me is because we've seen video of like fans actually jumping on the wrestlers.
Yeah.
Like that, so.
And that's the thing too. So don't get me wrong. If they get feisty, I'm probably not the most smart move, but I literally hold the ropes open and tell them, come on, because as soon as their head goes through the ropes, I can hook them and hold them till security throws them out.
All right.
You want to act big, you want to act tough, but when you get in there, you don't know what to do.
Yep.
You just got humiliated by a guy that's 5'7". So.
Yeah, and I'm all talk, so and it's going to leave right over there in the seat. So.
And in saying that too, it adds to the mystique of the show because now people don't know, was that real? Was that guy a plant? Which, as I mentioned earlier, I take offense that somebody in that best heel category did use plants in the crowd, but I mean.
Oh, it's happened. Yeah.
I everything I do is authentic, and I take pride in that. So.
What about this Rhea Ripley scaring kids thing? How do you feel about that?
Throwback to a guy that's succeeding in AEW now that I used to do shows with named Chuck Taylor, because he used to do a lot of shows in this area, and that was one of his high points. He would take something, fall out to the crowd, and just turn around. Like, he'd be down, and he'd just turn around and, like, just jump at the kids, scare them. It was, like, you try to hold it together in the match and see it. So, I mean, I love that that's coming back because it gives them something they can talk about, too. So, and once the parents calm down, unless they're just absolutely loving it, it just gives them something to talk about, and it's a memory that they can hold on to and tell stories to their friends about, too.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, like, I couldn't imagine. Like, I remember for us, when we went to, what WrestleMania was it with Zeus and Hulk Hogan?
That was the No Holds Barred.
Yeah, it was the No Holds Barred. We went to that pay-per-view, and we saw Zeus. And, Zeus, all he had to do was look at you.
Yeah.
And, like, I love that kind of fear when it comes to heels and stuff like that. So
that's another thing, too. Like, you guys have mentioned it with the different members of the Star Wars Rebels cast you brought up about how much of that is you, how much of that is authentic. If you don't believe in what you're doing, if I don't believe that I am that guy when I walk out through the curtain, the fans are going to pick up on that. Why would they react to me? Why would they even pay to see me? If I don't believe that, or if Zeus didn't believe that he was that big, intimidating guy, why would you? Why would you be afraid of him? It's all in the presentation.
have you thought about doing like fan films and stuff to kind of like broaden your character, kind of like the way they did Zeus? Like they did No Holds Barred, that movie. It was a ridiculous movie.
Yeah.
But they kind of like brought out. It was kind of like this is who Zeus really is behind the scenes. He will kill you.
I wish I could find somebody to help me do that where it's not just using an iPhone. So
Yeah.
if I could find a credible camera crew and actually put that in there, I feel like that's another investment in this that would help me greatly. So
I know we could find it out on the floor because usually in the past at ICCC, we find those fan film crews that are presenting their own stuff. That I mean, we could find them and try to partner. Because the only reason I say that is because when you bring that stuff into the home and they see you behind the curtain and not just, oh, they're an actor, they come into the ring and then they're done, they go home and they're regular people. Like they kind of bring that, they have it to keep it home with them. So.
And I mean, that's a throwback to Dr. D. David Schultz, the guy that slapped John Stossel back in the 80s. They did a thing with him at home where Vince McMahon went to his house. It wasn't really his family, but he's sitting there being that same character. He's yelling at the wife, he's yelling at the kids. He's got a shotgun that he accidentally shoots in the kitchen. You know, it's like it brings that realism and that craziness to it too. So I mean, it's a brilliant idea, and I wish they would do more of that.
Yeah.
So that you could care more about these characters that you see on TV as opposed to just being an athletic, flippy wrestler. So
tell me how you would change how people are bringing characters into modern day wrestling now, considering like how it was in the 80s and 90s.
The biggest thing I want to see more of is the vignettes, where you feel like you know that character when they're coming in. It's more of an event when they happen. Like, I'll use Carlito, for example, guy I've been up and down the roads with quite a few times. They did all those vignettes of him coming in. You felt like you knew he was this arrogant jerk. He was the epitome of cool. His first night in, what does he do? He beats John Cena for the U.S. Championship.
Yeah.
And he's already established. He was established as a character beforehand, and now he's a champion. So it makes sense. I want to see more character build as opposed to just, hey, this guy can do all this cool athletic stuff, which is good, but if I don't have a character to gravitate and care about, then it's just another, cookie cutter, and I hate using that term, but it's just wrestler X. If you don't have a character that they can care about, what does it mean?
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Who's the most underrated wrestler you think in mainstream wrestling right now?
Right now?
Right now.
I'm going to go to my grave saying this. In WWE, it is The Miz. It is The Miz. He is one of my favorites. That man can fit into any position they put him in. Publicity, squash match, put him in the main event. That guy is the ultimate utility player, and he does not get the credit he deserves.
So let me ask you, you got an upcoming show coming up?
Oh, I've got a bunch of upcoming shows coming up. So
let's talk about some of your upcoming matches.
So before we get out of here, we do have the UCW Fair Tour that's coming up. It's like over 26 shows between UCW, Triple Crown Wrestling, and USWF, and I'll be doing quite a few of those.
Okay.
And as I mentioned, I am no longer the UCW Southern States Champion. I was the longest reigning, but now they are bringing back the UCW Ultimate Championship, so there is going to be a tournament held across these fair shows. And if I were you, I would make smart bets to put it on me, because why would you not want the most relevant person in the independent wrestling scene in this area holding the oldest and most prestigious championship in the state of Kentucky? That company has been going for almost 30 years, and that title has been the longest continually active title. So why would you not want somebody that brings eyes to that and that is driven and hungry? Why would you not want him to go all the way to the finals and bring it home?
Who are you looking at right now? Who's your next match that you're wanting to tear apart right now?
They haven't told me who I've got in Salina on the 6th, but all I know is I got to get through them, and then I get to go on vacation. So
all right,
whoever it is, it's just a speed bump, and then I'm hitting the road. So
who holds the belt right now?
Right now it was vacated. Vic the Bruiser retired with it. So
okay.
He never took me up on that bounty challenge last week, which actually I lost the money to JBL playing poker. So you probably saw that on Monday Night Raw, so the bounty batch never happened. So.
Okay. So what would the real Flynn Hendrix say to the person that wants to challenge you for that vacated belt right now?
Anybody that wants to challenge for the UCW Ultimate Heavyweight Championship, I hope you know that you do not stand one single chance. And chances are you probably aren't even fit to zip up my boots. You probably don't even have real gear. And if you do, good on you, because you set yourself out amongst the crowd. But you don't have the marketability. You don't have the skill. You don't have the charisma. You can't work the room. You can't work a mic like Flynn Hendrix can. You haven't been on set with Amazon. You haven't been in a booth. You haven't done half the things I've done. And when I get in that ring, I will prove it to the world that I am the most relevant, sensational one-man enterprise that the professional wrestling business has and never will see again. And by the end of the summer, hopefully on my birthday, I will become the last UCW Ultimate Heavyweight Champion, and I will hold it until I retire, and I dare someone to come and try and take it from me. And I know you hear me.
Yeah. All right, man.
I probably just made a bunch of people mad, so.
Take us out, brother. Take us out.
Guys, if you want to support everything we're doing here this weekend, we've got merch back at the table. Proceeds are going to the Nashville Humane Society and St. Jude. Those are two big charities that are close to my heart. We got a bunch of great celebrities here. We've got 2 of my voiceover coaches, Vanessa Marshall, Steve Bloom, the Star Wars Rebels crew, Ian McDermott. We've got everybody here. We've got the media room. Come on back here. Get on these shows, ask some questions, and just come out and show your support. It's going to be a great weekend. Nobody's getting turned away. It's bigger and better than ever. And like I said, it's ICC 5, The Haven Strikes Back. So come on out to Lebanon, Tennessee.
See ya.